part of me. I'm more than a bird, I'm more than a plane, more than some pretty face beside a train. And it's not easy to be me. Above and away, away from me. Well, it's alright, you can all sleep sound tonight. I'm not crazy or anything.
Happy Tuesday, y'all. We are recording this weekend, and this was kind of a fun weekend. We picked this weekend because we had Tech football game this weekend, and AJ come over for that, and we're also going to record. And we had the fun weekend at, with Texas Tech BYU game day here, and all the exciting events. And so we kind of picked this weekend as one of our weekends to do it. We're kind of trying to do recording once a month, so and get a bunch of content for a while. But this weekend was a pretty electric weekend and kind of history-making weekend. AJ's a Texas Tech grad, so AJ's a Red Raider, and big time commit, following Red Raider. And of course, here in Lubbock, we're all Red Raiders. And anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about the fun weekend we had this weekend. And AJ, what do you think? Exciting as it was the last time?
Yeah, man, it was super fun. And first of all, just got to say, thanks a lot for inviting me. I know you had another, person you would have hoped could have gone with you, but I'm glad I could be somewhat of a substitute. And I know you never even ended up going to our seats, because the field club that we were in the new south end zone that's at field level, it's where the players come out, was just kind of too nice. I went to my seats for most of the first half and then immediately made my way back because I was hungry, and they were feeding us, and they brought out ice cream at the end. That was a super cool experience. I've never had that type of game day experience. And I didn't even know this would happen, but I guess when you're down there and the game's over, oh yeah, you can walk out on the field. Of course, yeah. The kids sort of stormed the field. I've seen some clips where they're like, this is the most confused field storming ever. But like I said last night, I didn't feel like we stormed the field. It felt more like we were just so happy, and it was just like, we did it, and just more of like a celebration than we didn't storm it. We just went out there to be like, this was awesome. So everything about it was great. Of course, College Game Day was in town. So that's, Pat McAfee and Nick Saban and all those guys. And so we got out there pretty early and watched a lot of that. Saw one of our kids, make a field goal for $250,000 and a $250,000 to charity, which the stuff Pat McAfee does, I will say, if you sit and listen to him too long, at least for me, he can wear on you, because he just go. But man, that's the guy you want promoting college football.
He's intense. Yeah.
He's out there, and I watch his stuff. I watch his show a lot, and I watch College Game Day. And of course, every week they go, especially as the season goes, they're trying to up the ante. You know what I mean? And But I will say, Pat McAfee I think is a pretty genuine guy. He sometimes says things without thinking, but to hear him, his impressions of Lubbock, of the team, which he said he knew very little about, and came into town, flew in on Friday morning, immediately went to the stadium to do his show, and by the time he got done talking to Joey McGuire and talking to the Masked Rider and checking everything out that was going on around him, he was like, this is what football is all about. And all his guys that were back in their studio in Indianapolis were asking Coach McGuire questions. And by the time it was over, they were all like, you're our new favorite coach in football. Because, I think those guys, what they've done with sports talk, TV, radio, podcasting, is brought some realness to it, yes. Being genuine, and obviously those guys have gotten themselves in a lane where they can get away with saying things that other people can't, even on TV, because, his show was on YouTube for so long, and now it's actually on ESPN. And, they're just real. And so when those guys all say those things and hear it from a guy, I feel like they see that he's genuine. They see how much he loves it. And, everyone got to learn about Lubbock. We met a lot of BYU fans. Everyone we met was great. I know once the game started, I don't think a lot of them were having too much fun. I know I had told you about the father-son Cougars that were sitting behind me, and the kid was just getting into football, so dad was explaining things, and of course the score was never on their side, so the kid was kind of getting upset. But it was also interesting to see a dad try to give his kid that lesson of, look, man, if you're going to do this your whole life, you're going to get you might get more losses than wins, depending on what team you choose to follow.
Yep.
So, he was teaching his kids some lessons there about, yes, you can pour your heart into it, but it is just a game. We should all be thankful that we even got to be there. But it was great. And I mean, compared to 2008, I think the biggest difference, that's the last time we were in that kind of position to be playing for everything ahead of us. The difference, I think, back then was that was UT, and there was just a built-in, 100 years of animosity. Mm-hmm. This felt like the whole environment felt more friendly. It felt like very family,
Yes.
friendly. And obviously we all know at every college game, including our own, there's always a few people that get maybe a little too sloshed or that are just in the wrong, shouldn't be there, and they start some crap. But mostly that gets taken care of pretty quick. But man, overall, it had been a while since I had been to a game after moving back to Roswell. But it was so cool. The environment was great. The new facilities that everyone can see when you're just in the stadium, that new south end zone, I mean, it's beautiful, but it also gives the whole place, in a way, and I mean this in a good way, compared to when I was going before, everything getting so closed in, it actually looks and kind of feels smaller.
It does.
But that's great. It's like we're right on top of whatever team is in town to play us. And I do think our home crowd and our advantage with that was huge. And if we see those guys again, I could see them doing a little better. But, that's part of the game, and that's what we got. We had them coming here this year, so good for us. And, we moved up just one spot in the rankings. They're not going to put us ahead of any of those SEC schools yet, but feels good to be where we are. And now we're in that same position from 2008. We've got a few weeks ahead that we got to get through. Mm-hmm. And, of course, back in 2008, we didn't finish that off. But overall, man, what they're doing over there. Oh, and then to hear all the game day guys, of course, Pat talking us up because he's the guy on the mic all the time. But I saw a clip of one of the other guys, I believe it's Fowler, and they were asking him about the facilities. And he said, yeah, I got to walk through the facilities this morning. And, he didn't want to mention the other school, but he kind of insinuated that he had only seen one other college that had a video board walkthrough room, indoor, basically a little indoor field, line of scrimmage, where you can actually line up against a video board of your opponents and do walkthrough drills. And he mentioned that he had only seen one other, and he said it was a lot smaller. So he was like, yeah, they've got, A1 facilities, and then the facilities that not everyone gets to see, like us getting to be down in the field club. So nice. I mean, you get down there and you're like, well, this is where I'm watching the game. And, of course, we had Patrick Mahomes come back to town to be the guest picker, and he hung out for the game, and, they showed him a lot, and, got to show off his love. Like, I think everyone around the country, if they hadn't been paying attention, got shown that we do have something special down here. And another thing I saw a lot of people saying on social media was, why not us? Why can't Texas Tech win it all? We've got everything we need to have. We've got a legit, put us up against any offense out there kind of defense. And we've got a linebacker that, even though he's not getting a whole lot of draft love yet, probably has to be leading in most people's vote for the Heisman, because when you take the ball away more than once a game, you make such an impact on the game. Turnovers, every coach says turnover. Well, we lost the turnover battle. Usually the team with the most turnovers given away, they lose the game. And when we got a guy that every game is good to give you one, I mean, you feel like you're in every game. And that UT game back then was close. and a lot of stress. This one was fun because, we were only up 10-0, going towards halftime, or 13-16. We kept field goaling them to death. But with that defense, you just felt like, well, they're not going to catch up. So it was very fun because it was a much more relaxed. Once the game started and you saw what we were doing and the defense showed up like it does, the nerves kind of went away, and it was just a fun afternoon. And one of those where, you get back in the truck and you're like, dude, we've been out here for like 6-7 hours, and it just didn't even feel like it because you just had fun the whole time.
Yeah, it was a long day. It was intense. It was fun. Back in 08 was incredible, and 08 was probably the first time, well, it was the only time in my lifetime that I ever experienced anything like that. And 08 was intense all year. We had the Leach Buzz and Coach Leach, the Pirate. Well, Coach Leach is just, the Pirate's a pirate. And I got to meet him around the community, see him at Cafe J's a few times and visit with him. And he was just unbelievable. The man, his brilliance and smarts was just way up here above everybody else. And former football players, I've heard talking about him and stuff, and talking about meetings and stuff, talking about Pirates and other crap, and not even talking about X's and O's and stuff. Leach was just a special guy, and everybody loved Coach Leach. And everybody loved our players. I mean, we had Harrell and Crabtree, and good Lord, there's a bunch, and we just had a magical year that year, and we just kept winning, and it was exciting. And then that big game against UT, of course, we're always the underdog. I mean, we're always a step kid is what everybody's always called Tech. And I mean, in fact, I was sitting right where our seats were this week, pretty close within, I think I was in 116 or 117 back then. And I sit there, I can remember that catch clear as day. And it was intense. And yes, we did storm the field that game. I mean, we stormed the field quick. It was like maggots all over that thing. Goalposts come down, you name it. I'll never forget 08. And of course, going to Oklahoma the following week and just with how that handled was not a good deal. 08 was a fun year. This is probably the most fun year I've ever had tailgating. Most fun year I've ever had being that close up involved with, university and get, the coaches and being around players. That year I built a shopping center across the street from Jones Stadium. So it was like the perfect job. When I got that contract, it was like, wow, I can't believe this.
Gonna have this spot all season.
Year long through football season. Who in the hell could luck out and get that? And it worked. It was the bomb. And we tailgated on the job site, and then that acreage there, that was, we parked cars and made some money on parking cars, and we tailgated every weekend there when we had a home game, and we would all camp out. We'd have RVs and cook, and we had bands, DJs, and it was a year-long party over there. And I'll never forget it. My kids were younger. They were 8, 9 years old, roughly right around 7, 8, 9 years old. And when they come over, I mean, they just loved it. And Aubrey and Zane, that is. And we beat UT, and oh my God. I mean, game day. Game day is during Halloween, I believe, and everybody was
all the
dressed
kids were
up
doing the Joker face, Joker face paint. So
yes.
It was
and
good.
I was over there by the circle, and there was so many people everywhere, and we beat UT, and it was just on fire. And much of my friends, I had this bright idea. I said, let's go to OU. We knew we were going to go to OU and kick their ass. And I had this bright idea let's rent this bus. So we rented this entertainment bus. It was a Coors Light entertainment bus. And I don't know, we had 6 or 8 bunks on there. And I can't remember how many of us. There's probably 15 or so of us. And I rented that bus, and we all pitched in, and they met us at the office, and we loaded up and headed to Norman. And that was back when our President Obama was his first term, and our bus driver was African American, and She was the coolest bus driver you could ever imagine. She cracked more Obama jokes than I could ever think of. And we had the most fun with that lady. And we started our trip off good. We get to Wichita Falls and we're cutting through. And she calls me up to the front and she says, "Billy boy, get your white ass up here." And I go up to the front. She says, "I want you to sit down and listen to me and shut your mouth." And I said, "What's up?" I can't remember her name anyway. I said her name. "What's up, miss?" And she says, "Sit here for a second." She's on the phone with the earpiece and the headset. And she says, "I'm on the phone with the EMS and we got a fire and we're fixing to have to pull over and get off the bus." And she says, and I said, "A fire? What are you talking about?" And she says, "Look in that mirror right there." And I look in the mirror and there's flames coming out of the back of the bus.
And y'all are still rolling.
And we're still driving. And she says, "I'm going to pull off up here. EMS is coming behind us and fire department's on the way." And in fact, I looked back and there's the fire truck just right behind. So we pulled over off the road and she says, "You get everybody off the bus. You're the last one and I'm behind you." So I turned around and Kendall was right there in one of the front seats. And I told Kendall, I can't remember exactly. And I said, "We got a fire. We got to get everybody off the bus." So we pulled over and stopped. And I said, "Everybody off the bus, grab your crap." Anyway, when we looked back there, you could see the smoke smoldering through the back of the floor. And there was a bunch of them back there rolling craps, rolling dice. And by that time, we were already feeling pretty damn good. And we started dragging everything off and then got everybody off. I was the last one. About that time, the fire department and the cops were all there and stuff, the police. And comes over and he says, "What all's in this bus?" And told him there's all of our camp out stuff. There's propane tanks. So we opened the side doors and we started bailing, pulling everything out of the bottom. Suitcases, bags, every damn thing. We had this big pile. And it was cool and drizzly and starting to drizzle. And the fire chief, whatever, looked at me and he says, "You, the ringleader here," he says, "you pick one person, y'all get on the bus and grab everything off as fast as you can." So we made a sweep from the back end with the firemen to the front and we got everything off the bus and got it all piled up. And of course, they started insinuating the fire. The brakes, something with the brakes, the brake fluid come out and it got hot. Anyway, it caught on fire and it just started buzzing. It looked like you shot the back end of it with a torpedo. Oh, it was crazy. It was wild. So they bring us another bus. They truck us down to the truck stop in pickups. And the fire department had some pickups. The bus company showed up early. So they brought us a passenger bus and we had the passenger bus. We loaded up. It wasn't a cool Coors Light traveling bus, but it was a passenger bus from Dallas. And we got everything piled on there and they took us and we ended up stopping at a Sleep Inn and we stayed the night there. Of course, we all smelled like burnt plastic and rubber and soot.
Right.
It was awful. And we crashed there. We took a shower and then we went to the stadium the next day. They took us to the stadium and we tailgated and set up and we did our tailgate thing there. Some of us went into the stadium. Some of us didn't. I went into the stadium briefly and it was loud at Norman. And the people there was not very friendly. I mean, they were very anti-Texas Tech, let me tell you. In fact, it was so rude and it was so much crap that I ended up getting up and a couple of us that were all together right there in the seats that we had, because we were scattered. So we went back to the tailgate spot and we finished up watching everything out there and eating and drinking and doing our thing. And then we stayed, and then they loaded us up and they brought us back to Lubbock, took us home. And we had a long ride back in the passenger bus, which wasn't near as fun as Coors Light bus on the road going up.
Yeah.
But that year in 2008 was unbelievably amazing. And looking back from then to now, it's like we had our big powwow, and here we are again. It's been so long. It's like we got a taste of it then. I think everybody handled it better, and I think everybody took more of a advantage, I guess, of this opportunity because it's been so long since the last time.
Yeah, everyone was definitely hungry. You know, I remember back then because I remember, you know, we beat UT, and then actually the next week we had OSU here. They were number 8.
Yes.
We stomped them. So then you just felt pretty confident. And then of course what happened at OU, that was a road. And I've been to those road games where they don't go good, and if the home crowd decides they're going to be jerks about it, it's the worst. But and then I remember though, because you know the good thing you talked about having that great spot to tailgate. You know, we won all our home games that year, but that last one after OU, and I keep forgetting about this, but I'd looked it up earlier. Baylor, back when they had RG3, and they were beating us 28-14 kind of late in the game, and then we made some plays and won 35-28. But I remember after Oklahoma, and then after that. And of course, at that point, we were just hoping to get a decent bowl, and we did get a Cotton Bowl that we lost. Played in well, but lost. But yeah, so just really hoping that this time, and it feels that way this time, like that the momentum will be sustained. You know, the big difference is back then we were doing it with offense.
Yes.
And that doesn't always show up, especially when you make a road trip.
Yes.
A good defense pretty much shows up wherever you go. That's pretty consistent. Yeah, sometimes you won't make all the plays, but just the soundness of the defense, knowing where they're supposed to be and playing hard, that effort's always going to be there. So I just feel like, yeah, send us wherever, you know. I mean, hopefully we win out, take care of our business. We'll be in Dallas in a few weeks to play maybe BYU again. And, you know, I feel more confident about those trips than I, you know, ever did before. And, you know, we'll just see. There's still some games to be played. We could end up getting that, you know, if we take care of business, we could get one of those top 4 spots and get a bye. But I see us more being in getting that home playoff game. And man, if we thought yesterday was fun, a home playoff game, I don't even want to think about trying to hunt down tickets for that.
Well, whatever it is, and we're going to be there.
It was worth it. It was worth it. You know, that was one of those ones, like a game like that. I mean, yeah, there were some people that probably got a little scalped and paid a lot for tickets, but if you really cared about it, it was so worth it to be there. I mean, it's an experience. It's something that, you know, and we obviously in another few weeks, we may have games that are even bigger, but, you know, it's always fun to be able to say you were there and experienced it with all the other fans. And, you know, it was great. It was great, and it has been a long time coming. I'm glad that the landscape has changed in a way that's helped us be able to use, you know, our advantage is that we have boosters, fans, and alumni that love our school and are like, yeah, I'll give you some of my millions.
It's really amazing how far we've come here at Texas Tech, and also our community. You know, we've had multiple stadium renovations, and this last one really put it all together, and the sports program there, and so is our basketball program. All of our sports across the board are pretty salty. We got a few that's need some help, but you know, with softball and soccer and baseball and track and field and basketball last year, we had a big run with basketball last year. We're starting out top ranked with basketball again this year.
Yeah,
I really think McCaslin can get our basketball team where we were last year, if not better.
Yeah, they should only be better. I mean, the pieces, I don't think anyone expected we get to keep Toppin another year. I mean,
yes.
He was ready to go play in the NBA.
Yeah, he's ready.
But like I said, because of that change in landscape, and let's not discount that he likes being here.
Yes.
He enjoys it. We've seen the videos. He's done videos where he's driving around on a cart around campus, stopping to give people rides, and sometimes it's a kid that knows exactly who he is and geeks out, and sometimes it's some, you know, little, you know, pre-med kid that's got their head in the books 24/7, and they're just like, oh, thanks, and they're nice, and they talk to him, have no idea that he's this, you know, superstar to most of us. Yeah. So obviously he likes it here. The young kid, Christian Anderson, decided to stay, and yeah, that just started up. Looks like that's going to be really fun. I mean, man, I don't know if I would have believed you if you would have told me, like, we're going to have a top 10 team in basketball and football. I don't know if I would have believed you that we could get that done, you know, a few years back. But it's really fun, and I also, you know, I love going back to what you were talking about, Coach Leach, earlier. You know, that DNA is still in this team. Like, the connections are all still there. I mean, you know, you could make all the connections of Leach to Cliff to Pat Mahomes, you know, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, Cody Campbell, who's been our biggest benefactor and loves this team and is working behind the scenes all the time to make it better for not just Tech, but for all the college sports.
Yes.
He's a Leach guy. You know, not only, you know, and Leach, if you know anything about Leach, the first thing he did on his team was build his offensive line. Because he knew if we're going to throw the ball 80 times a game, we got to keep that guy clean.
Yes.
So you know, we didn't have necessarily the pick of the very best, highest rated lineman, but he found the guy that fit with us, and Campbell's one of those guys, a gritty guy, a guy that, you know, not the biggest, but he knew that guy would play hard and he would get every ounce of what that guy had out of him. And that's, you know, there are obviously, most of the time, a coach, even if they're fired, and of course the way it happened with us was pretty nasty, most of the time if that coach will still be fondly remembered in that town for 20 years later, it's because they won a national title or something. Leach didn't do that for us. He got us, you know, I think there was just the 1 10-win season, maybe 2.
Yeah.
But the way he did it, the way he connected with the community, but...
It was nice to see Craig James, or Adam James is still in the shed
this
weekend.
The signs, and I'm going to play some of the videos we got during this pod, so you guys have probably already seen them. But yeah, the signs were great. The kids really showed up with the signs. They had some funny stuff that was still family friendly.
Yes.
That everyone could see on TV. And of course, there's a TV component, so they have to approve those signs. But yeah, it was great. And I will say I haven't got to go back and watch a lot of the actual TV footage of game day. But I mean, our crowd looked awesome. I mean, if you compare those images from all the game days of the year, I think we more than showed up.
That was the first time I've ever been out on the field like that with this south end zone seats. Whenever I was able to get those, it was like, oh wow, this is going to be cool. And to hear the noise and see all the flags waving and all the red, white, and the blue from BYU mixed in there, especially on the end.
Yeah.
It was a pretty incredible sight just at field level down there. So being at field level as a player, that's got to be amazing, insane down there. It reminds me of
the juice that's got to give you when you come out is pretty awesome. And
how loud we were, man, it's loud. I've been up in the stands. I've been in the suites. I would rather be in the stands than the suites. The suites are nice and it has all the spaz and the food and all that. And then the windows open up so you can hear the sound and you can hear the game. A few times that I've been up there in the suites, I've always been down glued looking out. I wanted to hear the sound.
Yeah.
I would rather be in the seats myself. And but this weekend was pretty cool. Kind of a nice chance to get down there and be right at field level. I wish it was a little bit higher so you could kind of see over that. You'd have a little bit better view. The people above us on the balconies, they probably had the best damn seats of all, and of all of it. And it's pretty intense. I've heard a lot about the south end zone deal and seeing the saddle horn and them kids come through and the lit up board there. It was just a fun weekend.
Yeah.
Game day, I remember a lot of game day before. Just we got there and we were like in the pack at the outside of the crowd and we mingled in, but we wasn't really into it like we was this weekend to get to see. But seeing all the little kids and all the big kids involved, and the kicker, the kid from Wichita Falls,
right,
Archer City over there, and I mean, how cool is that? And then I don't know, man. All the players back, Pat Mahomes back, all the players back, and McAfee, man, that guy. I remember watching him play football, kick. I mean, that guy was the funnest kicker I've ever watched. I mean, he had no fear. He'd run up and knock the hell out of you.
He's got those some big tackles, and he would celebrate, you know, and he had fun with it.
Yes. He's probably the most electricized kicker I've ever seen in football. He's pretty badass.
I think he's a great guy too because, obviously he's huge now and very famous and has made a lot of money. But, you know, he's from the working class Pittsburgh type family.
He's from Pittsburgh, yeah.
He went to West Virginia, which I've always heard. I haven't been there yet, but I've always heard a lot of people tell me that, you know, Morgantown is kind of like a meaner Lubbock. Like they're a little meaner.
Yeah.
But I think he's a very grounded, comes from, a very working class background. And so I think he loved it. He said a lot, he's like, these people here work hard and they've worked hard on this football. And he's great, man. The promotion he gave our town and our school, he talked about the meat judging team.
Yes.
Yes. He
Hats
talked
off
about
to the Texas Tech and the meat judgers.
Yeah. He blows into town and he has a lot to do in a short amount of time, but he does some research or people probably do some research for him, but he really promotes and he really he wants, people to be into it, and he wants this college experience. Because I still, for years, ever since I started going to college, the college football experience to me is just so much better than the NFL experience.
Yes.
It's just everyone's more involved. Everyone feels more like they're a part of it. And whether you went to the school or not, because it's just more in your community.
It's more exciting.
Yeah, it's more exciting, and I think the product has just gotten better. These athletes just get better. And, and there's going to be some back and forth getting the money thing in line where we need it. But I think it's good because it's going to have kids staying in college longer, not sacrificing finishing their education because they want to go get that big signing bonus. They're already getting it.
Yeah.
They can already support they can take a lot of that stress off themselves and just play ball and go to school.
They can grow and mature, get an education, and take that time.
And those kids know, and I'm sure
an extra year. A lot of them kids need an extra year.
And I'm sure they're being told that, it's just like anything. Take advantage. Like now you can make money doing it, but take advantage of that. Take advantage of the education, because like any pro athlete or anyone transitioning from college to pro, you could have that catastrophic knee injury and your career's done. So take advantage of what you can now. And I think it is great that the kids, look, they're making the schools a lot of money. They deserve to get something. And I think if it keeps kids in school longer and lets them take some of that weight off of them and help their families out, I've heard all these guys talk about that, what it means to get that money and be able to go to school, play the game they love, and know that their family back home's taken care of.
Yes.
That's got to just feel so good. And I think when you are like that, none of that stuff's on your mind when it's time to go, make that play.
Yep.
So it's been nice. And I did like how in all the interviews that people did, Joey McGuire has been great because he doesn't shy away from the money questions.
No.
He's like, this is the world we're in and we're playing it. And if you don't want to catch up or you don't want to accept it, then you'll fall behind. And the way he's able to do it while still being a player's coach that cares about the players, and obviously the guys want to play for him. Look what they're getting done. So it was super fun.
He's getting results. I want to mention hats off to BYU fans. I know that's a long ways for those people to come to support their team and end up with a loss. But I got to say is the vibe with BYU and their fans was a good vibe. They were very respectful, very nice people, very courteous people. You didn't hear no crap. And even watching the game, you didn't see a lot of trash talk and a lot of crap on the football field either.
No, it was a very clean game. Both neither team was penalized a ton, which was great for us because we've had a problem with that. And, I saw one, late in the game, one guy get a little chippy, but, it happens. No, it was very, very clean, just a nice hard-fought game.
Yep. We have a lot of opponents that come in here, and some of our Texas schools down south that think they're better than everybody else. We all know who they are, and they all come in here and they got a chip and they want to argue and fight and raise hell. And it was kind of nice that we really had a good, clean game. But hats off to BYU. And everybody that we ran into all weekend was really nice, really respectful.
Yeah, so we've got 2 regular games left. They're both very winnable, but we know anyone can get up on it. We lost one this year that we shouldn't have.
Yep.
So got a little more business to get done, but it's real nice to finally just have that excitement. Whether the season's good or bad, we're always up for the games and we're always hopeful. But for it to be like this, where you really have something to root for, it's so fun. And you do almost forget how great. We all remember 2008, but then it comes back and you're like, oh man, I forgot how good this feels, how fun it is. And football is a distraction. It's something that isn't, and I'll be careful here because I want to say it's not necessary to life, although a lot of great things come out of it. Tons of charitable things, tons of things that really touch people. the BYU fans that chipped in.
Yes.
They raised 150. It's probably way over that by now for the tech barber's wife who was in a bad auto accident.
Yes.
I mean, football brings out the best in people. So I'll revise what I said. I think at this point it is something we need in society.
Yep.
But it is still one of these things that's kind of a distraction. And when your distraction is treating you well and giving you wins and giving you things to be excited for, it does make the rest of the week go by a little more fun. And you run into your friends, you go, oh, man, how about that game? And you bond over that. And it does, man, it's a great mood booster. It's definitely better than, having a team that can't win and then all week being like, God, I wish we had a better team. And then that will lead into you maybe being cross with someone else. So, hey, man, when your football team's doing great, life is good.
What an exciting time for Lubbock, Texas and West Texas. What an amazing weekend we had. This is twice now I've got to experience this and with the football team. And I'm ready for more. I'm ready for more. I've been wondering, and I mentioned this with you yesterday, I wonder how much money turned just this weekend in Lubbock financially off of this weekend.
Yeah, just all over town with every business and everything.
Ticket sales, merchandise sales, people coming in, traveling, hotel, motel, revenue, restaurants. I'm sure Lubbock Economic Development probably tracks that, but the amount.
That's another one right there. You got a good football team, you're going to make your town money.
Yes.
I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
And whenever we have a good product and they talk about the brand at Texas Tech and then the brand in Lubbock, Texas, I mean, we got a good product here. I mean, we got Texas Tech University. We got LCU. LCU is nationally ranked on being successful. We got South Plains College right next door. We got
very, very good basketball at South Plains.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got Wayland Baptist here at Plainview right down the road. We live in a fortunate hub here that, I mean, we got a good brand out here. I mean, there's pump jacks and cotton fields, but we got a good brand.
Yeah. And when we're allowed to use, all the tools to our advantage, when they don't rig the rules against you, you kind of see what we can accomplish. We can get a lot done just with the passion, like I said, of people that want to come back and give to this school and this town and the teams.
It's nice now, a lot of people are against the NIL, and at first I was like, it's going to destroy college sports, and it is what it is. So you either embrace it and jump in with it, or else you're going to die. But like you said, it's nice that it leveled the playing field, because before A&M, UT, and all of them got all that backdoor bullshit, and we're all finally on a legal playing field. And now we're on a legal playing field. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, because, outside of giving players money directly, we now have the money to have world-class facilities.
Yes.
And we have them for all our, they're if they're not already built, they're coming up for every sport we have. And that is a huge recruiting tool. I thought about going down in that field club. You're walking through where the players do. I was like, oh man, when you're a recruit getting brought into this, makes it pretty, it puts Tech on your list. Yes. And that's what I've noticed is just in these last couple years, every day I'm seeing tweets and stories about the big, high-rated recruits that everyone knows. And if they haven't already said they're coming to us, like the #1 quarterback a couple years out, we're on their list. We're on everyone's list all of a sudden, right there with Ohio State and Duke, and depending if it's basketball and that's kind of the fun thing too, is we're on the list now for basketball and football, and very few schools can do that.
Yes, it's been a long time since the football program's been up there continuous with our basketball.
And I think those programs do push each other.
Yes.
I think they do push each other, and I think right now having both those teams so good, and basketball has started, so that runs into the last half of football, it's going to be a fun back and forth. You're going to see football players at the home basketball games and vice versa. Christian Anderson was at the football game, and you love to see that, because when they show that on TV and they're like, oh, there's the Heisman leading linebacker for Tech, and he's with all the students at the basketball game on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
You don't always see that. It shows how together it is and how close-knit it is. And I think also people got to learn that, there's stuff out here. This ain't some piddly little town. We got a lot of, I'm sure every BYU fan ate very well while they were here.
Oh, yeah.
And I know Pat McAfee did, because Coach Joey said he was setting him up, for a big steak.
Sending Las Brisas.
Yeah, so, it was great, man. And hopefully we just got more. Hopefully the next time we get together, if it's a few weeks from now, we'll be talking about our, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but we'll be talking about the next big game.
Yeah, we're going to.
Yeah.
Big 12 championship game. That's going to be a badass game in Dallas. It's going to be nice to go to.
Yeah.
Remember, everybody, vote for Heisman. J-Rod, we've got 3 players on Texas Tech on the Heisman list. Baron Mortensen, and then defensive end, Bailey. And then we got J-Rod. I've already voted. He might be a little undersized for some of the NFL prospects, but that dude plays as good as any of them. And get on there and go vote. Everybody get out and vote for a Heisman candidate. We got 3 from Tech to choose from. I've already chose J-Rod. I'm just going to put it out there. I think the dude's unbelievable. I actually ran into them at Chick-fil-A this last week on Wednesday, I think it was, or Wednesday or Thursday. And it was packed over there. It was everybody over there. And there was a bunch of older people kind of in line. It looked like they were coming from something. And anyway, them guys, they stepped back and they put them in front. And there was 4 guys. There was the 3 linebackers and another guy. And they were all together there, and they were very, very respectful. And they asked them, older ladies, they were probably our grandma's age, to come up front and get ahead of them. And they were very well spoken, very respectful. And, sometimes you'll see people out in a community like that, and they're kind of in their own little norm. But naturally, those are respectful kids. And I'm going to say young men, because they are young men.
Well, and I've read about some of the processes they go through to go out and identify these kids, especially the transfers that you expect to come in and do big things right away. And it's not just about talent. It's about a guy that's a fit for. It's about a guy. They want kids that have a good head on their shoulders and that know that football's not the only thing.
I seen Taj Brooks quite a bit. One guy from Italy, I seen Taj Brooks in there one day, and he is sitting there and he's waiting for a pizza. It's after a game. And I had some friends in town, and they I couldn't get on it. We were ordering on DoorDash, and I said, I'll just go get it. It'd be quicker. And I went and got it. And Taj Brooks was in there, and he's sitting there. It was after game. He just went and got a pizza. He's just going to go home and chill. And, just sit there. And when I was waiting, him and there's 2 other people talking to him too, and he is such a well-spoken young man. And now he's playing pro football. We actually seen him this weekend walking around in there. That's kind of cool. Him and some of the other, Danny Amendola, Pat Mahomes, of course, and there were several others there. It was just nice to see the alumni come back and support it and be there. And wow, what a great weekend in Lubbock, Texas. What a great time to be a Red Raider.
And more to come, man. It just gets more fun from here.
Well, that's our story today. We're going to be putting this one out Tuesday. It's a fun recap of the weekend. And hopefully down the road we'll have another one from another football weekend or basketball weekend down the road as we come. And anyway, hope everybody has a great week coming ahead. And we got UCF coming in Friday or Saturday this weekend, and then we go to West Virginia. So we got next weekend to take care of business, and we got the following weekend to take care of business. And basketball season's off and going, so there's going to be your Monday, Tuesday night, Thursday, Friday night games, and I think we're going to have some here at home for the first few weeks here. So everybody have an opportunity to get out, go support our basketball teams and volleyball teams.
Like I was telling you last night, like the season really feels like it's flown by. Like the high schools are starting playoff games, and we're down to the last couple regular season games. But last home game next week. So I got to just say, like I said, it's been several years since I've been back and been to a game since they've kind of built everything up, and definitely since we've gotten this kind of success. So if you haven't been yet, man, go. You can probably get some reasonable tickets for next week. But you better get them now, because a lot of other people are going to be telling their friends the same thing. Go experience it. It's so fun, and you'll want to say you got to be live for some of this magical year. Well, that's it for Daddy's Story. Our big weekend, tailgate weekend, football game weekend, game day weekend, everything weekend with Texas Tech. So this is what we wanted to talk about today. AJ is going to put some video clips and some stuff that we took through the game all the weekend.
and that'll come out on our story on Tuesday. And then after that, we'll have a bunch of other stories coming out. So hopefully you stay tuned in to watch.
Or anything. I can't stand to fly